Thanks for joining me on episode 342 of the Inspired Stewardship Podcast.
I'm Fraser Rice, author of Wealth Actually. I challenge you to invest in yourself, invest in others, develop your influence, and impact the world by using your time, your talent, and your treasures to live out your calling. Having the right relationship with all of your gifts is the key to doing this. One way to be inspired to do that is to listen to this, the Inspired Stewardship Podcast with my friend Scott Mader.
But as well, it's because giving changes your mindset and suddenly makes you realize what you do have, what you already have, what is already in front of you and blessing you, so that you can turn around and change your mindset.
Welcome and thank you for joining us on the Inspired Stewardship Podcast. If you truly desire to become the person who God wants you to be, then you must learn to use your time, your talent, and your treasures for your true calling. In the Inspired Stewardship Podcast, you will learn to invest in yourself, invest in others, and develop your influence so that you can impact the world.
In today's Spiritual Foundation episode about investing in others, I talk with you about Proverbs 11, verses 24 through 25, and Deuteronomy 16, verse 17. I share why giving is an imperative, and I talk with you about why it works, even though sometimes it seems counterintuitive. Proverbs chapter 11, verses 24 through 25 says, "There is one who scatters and yet increases all the more. And there is one who withholds what is justly due, and yet it results only in want. The generous man will be prosperous, and he who waters will himself be watered." Similarly, Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 17 says, "Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessings of the Lord your God, which he has given you." See, it's interesting, but if you start a study of the Bible, you will find dozens and dozens of passages in the Bible, both in the Old and in the New Testament, focused on this idea of giving and how that giving results in prosperity. That the act of giving things away causes an increase. And that seems counterintuitive at first. Bob and I were talking about it in yesterday's episode, this idea that all too often we give our way out of times of financial stress. We give our way into times of being blessed more than what we thought we were blessed before. And this isn't a prosperity gospel thing. This isn't about I give away money so that money comes back to me. The way that you are blessed may or may not involve money. It may involve other forms of blessing, things that change your heart and your mind and your mindset. We've talked before in earlier episodes about how generosity actually causes you to live longer. That it's just research shows this. Giving is an imperative. And I've had clients, because I work with financial coaching, I work with clients who sometimes are struggling big time financially. And they ask me about giving and tithing and these sorts of things. And should they do that while they're working to get out of debt? And the short answer is yes. Giving is an imperative. You are supposed to be giving all of the time. Even when you don't feel like you're able to, you still have to give. Last year was my first year in the business, and I had some financial challenges, and yet my wife and I continued to tithe and continued to give to charity throughout that time. Why? Not because I thought that there was some sort of magic formula where if I gave and I tithed, I would be blessed, and yet it was because I wanted to make sure that I kept that habit and that mindset. There's always someone who's worse off than you. There's always someone who's struggling more than you. Unless you happen to be the person who is the worst off on the entire planet, there's always someone who you could give to and help. And this isn't even just about giving with money either. You could give with time. You can give with other things as well. Though honestly, giving money is part of that. I don't believe you should give time instead of money. I think you should give time as well as money. Giving is an imperative because God is a giving creature and we are made in God's image. And if we are made in God's image and God is a giver, then we are also supposed to be giving creatures. We are supposed to be giving beings. That's part of who we are. It's part of our wiring. It's part of what makes us human, is to give to others freely, to give to others without consequence, to give to others without expectation, to just be a giver. That doesn't mean being stupid and just throwing your money away, but it does mean giving without the expectation of return. It's strange, it's counterintuitive, but in a strange way, if you give hoping to get something back, you're actually less likely to get something back because people detect that. They smell that. They can sense it on you. They can feel it on you. It gives them an icky feeling. But if you give freely and you just give with the idea of I'm able to give, so I'm going to give, then you give. And at the end of the day, what you give and what you have allows you to continue to grow and to give even more. And you are more likely to get things back as well. This is why giving your way out of times of trouble helps for two things. One, honestly, if you are really giving freely and completely, you're more likely to get something back, even if that something is just help, a job offer or something like that. But as well, it's because giving changes your mindset and suddenly makes you realize what you do have, what you already have, what is already in front of you and blessing you so that you can turn around and change your mindset, which also helps you get new opportunities and grow and go out and do other things that allow you to, again, get things back. It's a strange thing, but if you give with this open hand, if you live with this open hand philosophy, then more flows in as well as flows out, and you can receive as well as you can give. But if you don't give, then you are almost certainly not going to receive as much. It's, again, not prosperity gospel. This isn't, I prayed for a parking spot, so I got a parking spot. I prayed for money, so I got money. This isn't like The Secret, where if I put these good intentions and thoughts out into the universe, then things come back to me. It's simply about changing your heart and your mind so that you're focused on giving, which allows you to see and receive the blessings that were already there for you, but you were just blind to them before. So I encourage you to find ways to give, not just in time, not just in effort, but also in money. Find ways to do that in the weeks that are coming. And this helps you begin to refocus your life and live out your calling. Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much for listening to the Inspired Stewardship podcast. As a subscriber and listener, we challenge you to not just sit back and passively listen, but act on what you've heard and find a way to live your calling. If you enjoyed this episode, do me a favor. Go over to facebook.com/inspired stewardship and like our Facebook page and mark it that you'd like to get notifications from us so that we can connect with you on Facebook and make sure that we're serving you to the best of our abilities with time and tips there. Until next time, invest your time, your talent, and your treasures. Develop your influence and impact the world.